Good afternoon. I'm Jodie Sargent, and I'd like to extend a warm welcome to you all from the Central Queensland Wide Bay Sunshine Coast PHN. Our webinar tonight is on Smart Referrals, and our presenter, Dr. John Harper. I'll now hand over to John.
Great, thanks Jodie, and welcome everyone to the inaugural GP Smart Referrals Tips and Tricks webinar. I hope you find it helpful. I'm a GP in Buderim on the Sunshine Coast and the GP Liaison Officer on the Sunshine Coast for the Central Queensland Wide Bay Sunshine Coast PHN. I would just firstly like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we work and live and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and community, and we pay our respect to them and their cultures and to elders both past and present. So this webinar presumes the attendees have some experience of GP Smart Referrals. If you need full training, it is well worth sort of booking that in through your PHN, where someone can come out to your practice and just go through Smart Referrals from top to bottom. And it doesn't take very long, but it's well worth just having that face-to-face training. So today I'm going to outline some of the useful tips and important features of GP Smart Referrals. I'll be attempting to complete a referral in real time as we go and just pointing out those features on the way through. I'll aim to leave plenty of time at the end for questions, and please use the question function on the right hand side of your screen. There should be a question bar there, and you can add questions in as we go, and I'll answer them at the end. All right, so let's jump in. So I'm just going to show my screen. So hopefully you can see I'm running best practice software. This patient is Elvis Test, who is 109 and still going. So this is a fake patient, and I'm just going to be running through a Smart Referral with this guy. So I just go down to the Smart Referrals widget, open up Smart Referrals. And you can see he's not a very well man. He's had lots of referrals. These are all tests, and there's a few errors there from when we were running the tests early on in the Smart Referrals creation. And then further down, you can see these are ones which have been received when we're doing further testing. And you can actually click on these little dots. If you wanted to update a referral, you can click on update or withdraw on any previous referrals that you've sent through Smart Referrals in this first window. If you've never sent any referrals, then there won't be anything in here. There'll just be a button here saying new referral. And here are some draft referrals that have been parked, and you can click on them to resume. So let's start a new referral. So we're just going to start a routine referral, and we'll say that surgery, yes, may be applicable. And we'll start typing in hematuria under urology. So most referrals are going to be a new referral, but you can use Smart Referrals for continuing care if you want to. So we often receive forms through from the hospital asking for an updated referral for Medicare purposes, which you can either use the form that's provided, or you can use Smart Referrals. You can click on continuing care and just highlight existing condition, providing updated referral if you wish. This can be quite useful if their medical history has changed quite a bit. So if their medications or past history has changed, then you can add those details in, which might be useful for the treating team at the hospital. But let's say it's a new referral, a new condition requiring specialist consultation. There is an option to press this button if the patient has been discharged from outpatient clinic within 12 months. Then you can press this one, and they generally get seen a bit quicker. Suitable for telehealth, yeah, why not? And Sunshine Coast University Hospital. This is the most important part. This is the condition-specific information. And so this is which has the different clinical scenarios which are linked to the essential criteria for investigations and pathology and things like that. So let's just click on one of these. Immature. No. So we have to include this information, these essential referral information, these tests. We have to include some information in a referral letter. I'll show you another referral template in a minute where you'll see the importance of this yellow circle. So when you hover your cursor over it, see how it tells you what to include. So in this section, this is just general information. But if I were, for example, to show you another condition, with neurology, for example, see now we have a red asterisk next to the history. So that red asterisk means that it has to be completed. And it's very important that we hover over this, and that'll tell us what is mandatory to include in the history, which that has to include any non-prescription medications, herbs and supplements. So that's important that you just hover over that to put in that information. And once you start typing, of course, the asterisk goes green and it's all okay to go. Let's just go back to our hematuria example. Hematuria. So we write in there's no specific history. With hematuria, these are fairly specific clinical scenarios, so there's not much else to write, but we might want to write a few words to say what the story is. We'll look at the blood tests and urine tests that need to be included. And then we go down to the imaging and reports. And here we've got a red asterisk, which is a mandatory field for imaging. So this imaging has to be provided. And we can click on this and it'll go green, or CT IVP. And then we have to click again just to say that we've definitely attached the imaging, which might be under investigations, which we'll see in a bit, or it might be an attachment through the attachment. But if it's the text investigation that comes through into your inbox as just plain text, then it'll probably be in your investigations. But if it's an imaging report, which is a PDF, like a scanned-in report, for example, then it's best to use attachment. So we click that all imaging has been attached. If for whatever reason we don't have the imaging because maybe it's been already done by the hospital and we don't really feel the need to do it again, then we can click override and we can write in why we're overriding, why we haven't attached the imaging. All right. So the next thing we can do is when we're writing in these boxes, quite a handy trick is to just look in the corner. There's in the bottom right-hand corner, there are these little lines. So if you're writing something in here and you're starting to take up the whole box, you can actually click and hold and drag that, and that'll open up the text box. So you can actually see what you've written, which is much more helpful. And so the next section, we go into the standard clinical information. So this is where you have your allergies, medical history, medications, past prescriptions, investigations, and progress notes. So this information comes directly over from the patient notes, but you'll notice by default, medical history, current medications, past prescription, and progress notes, they're defaulted to not be selected. So particularly with medical history and current medications, just remember to select them. You can either select them individually, or you can click in these lines here and then select visible rows, and that'll select them all for you. So yeah, just remember to select those things. The investigations, Smart Referrals does try to find the essential investigations for you. So you'll notice that there's a list up here, and it actually tries to find it in the software and ticks them for you automatically. But it's not 100%. Sometimes you do need just to have a little look and tick them yourself. brings over height, weight, and blood pressure. Always worth just doing a height, weight, and blood pressure just when you're doing in a referral, because there's nothing more annoying than getting a referral sent back because you haven't done that. There are many conditions now which do require height, weight, and blood pressure, so just well worth sticking it in. And then we can look in the investigations area. So, as I said, these ones come over as from the investigations folder in your software, and usually have no problem attaching the text-based ones. If you're struggling to find an investigation that may be in a PDF format, you might need to look in investigations, and then if it is a scanned-in PDF format, you might need to move it into correspondence in. And then when you do that, you can then attach it further down. So that's just something that you might need to just check. If you can't find anything in here, then it may be because it's a PDF, and move it into correspondence in, and then attach it later on. So speaking of attachments, we'll just head down that way. So the rest of the referral form, we've got patient information, which is not much to do here. The only thing that you might want to tick is the consent to contact the patient. Many patients are happy to get an SMS about the cancellation, so I often tick that. Interpreter information, contact and care information is only required for a child. And insurance information, all the Medicare stuff should go over automatically from your software. Referring GP information, likewise, should just go over automatically. So with attachments, you can either attach from the clinical software or from the computer. So, for example, if you're sending a photo in with a referral, you can either take a photo on your phone and then email it to the practice reception, and then they can add it to the patient's file, or you could download it to your computer. If you download it to the computer, you just click and find it somewhere in your PC. If you're looking clinical software, this looks in best practice, it will look in your clinical images, it will look in your correspondence in and correspondence out. In Medical Director, it'll look in letters and documents, correspondence. So we can see in here we've got various different files that we can attach. And as I mentioned before, if you have an investigation like a scanned report, particularly things like a histopathology report, sometimes like Sullivan-Nicolaides, they tend to send their histos in a PDF form. If you move that over to correspondence in, then you can see that here and click on that and attach that. You know if it's worked because it goes green, that means that it's attached without a problem. And we've done all our mandatory fields. There's no red sign here saying there's forms to fill out. So we're ready to submit the referral. If you get to this stage, in the investigation stage, and you realize there's some tests that need to be done, you can park the referral and come back to it later. At the moment, there isn't we haven't yet got a sort of a reminder system yet in the widget that tells you which referrals are parked. So you just have to remind yourself another way by making a note that you parked the patient. Or in best practice, there is the to-do list function, so you can just add a little message in the to-do list that you need to complete a parked referral. Okay, so I just wanted to see if there's any questions just on what we've gone through, and yeah, I just wanted to leave a little bit of time to answer any questions or queries or comments or feedback that people might have.
Thanks, John. We've got a couple of questions.
Yep.
The first one is, will there be any functionality re copy and paste spell check save function in the future?
Sorry, copy and paste, and what was the other?
Will there be any functionality regarding, excuse me, copy and paste, spell check, or the save function in the future?
Well, the copy and paste, I haven't actually tried recently. Let me see. So we can, if we control C and then go back in and control V, that copies into the text area. So is there, this is in best practice, does people have an issue with the copy and paste on Medical Director, or are there other aspects of it that that won't copy and paste? On the other question with spell checker, I'm not sure that will be coming. There are many enhancements that we've got on a list for Queensland Health to work through. I haven't seen the spell checker on it. It would be good though.
Okay, the next question is, some specialties, immunology, for instance, now seem to list the true wait time for categories, e.g. Cat 2, 806 days. Is this correct or a glitch?
No, this is supposed to be correct. So, you know, we have wait times in here for the different categorizations. So this is actually taken from the SCHHS data, and it is supposed to be correct. I think there are some clinics which have they might not have certain categorizations because of how they run their clinics. I will just say though that they are planning to suspend displaying the wait times because they just want to do some I guess send out some information to GPs just to provide some explanation behind the wait times. So I know that we can see them on there, but I actually thought they were going to be removed or just temporarily removed. So that hasn't happened yet, obviously. But from what I understand, that they are correct.
Okay, the next question is, ZMed compatible for Smart Referrals?
Sorry, can you just say that again?
Is ZMed compatible for Smart Referrals?
Not yet. Not yet. So the only two software systems compatible at the moment are Medical Director and Best Practice. The company that makes Smart Referral is working with the other software vendors to make them compatible as well. And ZMed was certainly, I think, the third one in the list for it to begin developing the compatible software. So I think that is in process, but I don't know when that might be released.
Okay, thank you. Any suggestions about how to get or how to have ECGs recognised? At present, we have to save as a PDF to the desktop and then import as an attachment.
Yeah, so ECGs can be a little bit of a problem depending on the software that you use to record the ECGs. I know with a program that we were running, the ECG would be saved in clinical images, but as its own sort of special file type, which unfortunately Smart Referrals didn't recognise. The best way is to save it as a PDF, which if you can do it directly from the ECG software is great, and save it as a PDF and then attach it at the bottom. Or if failing that, print it out from your ECG software and then scan it in as a PDF or JPEG file and then attach it. So that is what you're doing at the moment, is probably the best way of attaching ECGs is via a PDF under the attachment.
Okay. This question is probably, you've just answered it, and it's, is there a format that attachments need to be in so they can be found in the patient file or on our system? And same issues, we seem to have some scanned in documents that do not seem to attach, and also have trouble getting ECGs and spirometry across. So I think that's a similar question.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely sometimes that, like the spirometry files as well, if sometimes they get saved as an odd file type which is only visible within the software system. The file types that can be attached are fairly common file types, so things like PDF, Word document, PNGs, JPEGs, GIF, text, RTF, all these sorts of stuff, and even a zip file can be attached. So common things can be attached, but I think like with the ECG scenario, sometimes with the spirometry, it does create a slightly unique type of file. So if that can be either exported into a PDF type of file or scanned in and then attached is the best way. If you're struggling to find things in your investigations, then you may have to move them between the folders in your notes, with either the correspondence or the letters, and then when you go to clicking on attachments in clinical software, you should be able to find it. Particularly if it's a recognized file type, it should show up in that list.
Thank you. Here's another question. Can you send a smart referral and then send another referral via fax or email with additional information that was not able to be attached to the smart referral?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's definitely worth writing when you're sending updated information. Just write at the top that you've already sent in a smart referral. At the other end of the hospital end, they have their referral centre that allocates all the referrals as they come in, and they do have to just make sure that all new information coming in isn't treated as new referrals. So they have to be careful to match up updates and letters and things like that to a referral that's already gone in. So if you can just, when you do send up that additional information using other means, just mark on it clearly that a smart referral has already been sent with the date, and that really helps them link that up. And there will be times when you can't attach things you want to the smart referral, or for whatever reason, sometimes smart referral isn't working or not attaching. Then just send it via either medical objects to the Q Health Sunshine Coast Ambulatory Care Centre address, or via fax.
Thanks, John. We don't have any more questions at the moment, so if anyone's got any more questions, please pop them into the question box or chat box, and we'll address those. Just a reminder too, this webinar is being recorded, so you can you'll receive the link in the next couple of days, and you can share it with your colleagues or watch it back. Here we go. Another question. Can you suggest the widget to remind you about park referrals? So that's a statement. Yep.
What was it?
Can you suggest the widget to remind you about park referrals?
Yeah, absolutely. So that is in one of there are a bunch of enhancements that we're hoping to get done, and one of it is to have something particularly be useful just down here in the little widget here that tells you, you have 3 parked referrals, and it tells you which patients. At the moment, you have to be in the patient to see that their parked referral, but it would be useful to have a widget, something in the widget to help with that. I'll just tell you as well, the other things that are in the enhancement list are making the medical history and the current medications be all selected by default. We think that will probably make things a bit quicker, so you don't have to click through everything, but everything will be selected, and then you just deselect the ones you don't want. Also, improvements to the way that the reason for referral is laid out, and further improvements to the searchability function. So there has been some improvement. So, for example, if I type in previously, if you wanted to refer someone for cholesterol management, you had to remember that you had to type in lipids, because that is what the language of the CPC is. But now you can write in cholesterol, and it comes up with lipids. So that's a sort of slow progress on that, and that will continue. They're actually the company that's making the smart referrals is looking at which words we use to find things, and is logging that data much in the same way that Google does to improve search function. So I think over time the searchability will increase quite a bit, which will be great.
I think we've answered this, but where do you go to find your parked referrals?
So the parked referrals are on the sort of the home screen. So if we just cancel this new referral, and when you open the patient's file and click on Smart Referrals, if there's already been a referral that has been drafted and parked, or one that's been sent, then it will be in this list here. If you've never done any smart referral for a patient, then it will just have this button. It won't have this list here. But as you can see with this guy, we've got a couple of parked referrals here that you can just click to resume. And you click that, and it will just open it up as well.
Right. Another question, is it easy to switch in and out of the patient file so you can adjust and update their notes while doing the referral? And does that update in Smart Referrals in real time?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is one of the main benefit really of Smart Referrals, is that it's constantly linking through. And if I just start a new referral and put in some information. So here we've got sort of height, weight, BMI, and say the blood pressure. We've got a height and a BMI that's a bit out of date. So I think, I better adjust that. So you just go back into the notes, go to observations, and then you can add in a height. We'll say shrunk a little bit and save that. And then we go back into Smart Referrals and we just hit refresh. And you can see it automatically updated. And the same thing happens with these other things as well. So if you look at past history and you wanted to add a past history, you can go back in. You can add a new past history, pop that in, and then back into Smart Referrals, hit refresh, and then it jumps up here. So yeah, it's very easy to do that. Speaking of refresh, the other thing that I'll just say is once some people are concerned that the copy of the referral is not getting saved back into their software. When you've submitted it, sometimes you go back into your correspondence out and there's no evidence of a referral. That's because there is just a slight time lag between submitting the referral and then writing back. But if you hit in best practice, if you hit the F5 refresh button, which refreshes the notes, then it'll appear. And certainly the next time you open the notes, you'll see it there. So just don't panic if you don't see it written back into the notes. Just hit F5 and you should see it pop up.
Thanks, John. I think we've exhausted the questions for the moment. We've only got a minute or so left.
Okay. Well, thanks everyone for attending this evening. This is the second one we ran today. We ran one at lunchtime today, and then this one at 5:30. I hope this is sort of a useful time for everyone. We wanted to run it when people might be still at work in front of their computers and sort of be able to drive their own smart referrals as we go through. So I hope it was helpful. Any feedback on the timing and whatnot will be very useful. And any feedback for improvements to smart referrals, do let us know, because that's important. We feed that back to Queensland Health.
Thanks, John. Thank you, everybody.
Great. Thank you.